Welcome to ACD Combatives, your combatives and control tactics channel. Please like, subscribe, and share. Hey guys, Coach Kurt. So how I fix my shoulder, and I use that term very loosely, how I rehab my shoulder or PT my shoulder. I have a common shoulder injury that a lot of people have received in their life. It's a rotator cuff and a labrum tear in my right shoulder, also known as a slap tear. I had two different surgeons wanting to do two different surgeries, and I opted for a third option, PRP, platelet-rich plasma. This video isn't about that. Do your own research, but I recommend it. It's not the answer to all people's problems, but it worked for me. I have a video link that I will link at the end and probably in the description where I have it done on my knee, and you can actually see it. I video it and so forth. But what I do for my shoulder pain is the solution and prevention is hanging. This is a book that I got, and I absolutely love it. It allegedly can take care of about 90% of all shoulder injuries. Here's some accessories I have bought over the years. Secure your grip. This is for powerlifting. Guys, you don't need any of these accessories I'm going to show you. This is a common grip strength that a lot of jiu-jitsu guys and rock climbers use. You don't need that either. It's you know me. This is one that I highly recommend, but again, you don't need the crossover symmetry. It's a little expensive, but it's top shelf. It's a great product. But any bands in general are something that you can do. You'll see this crossover symmetry in a lot of CrossFit gyms and functional fitness gyms. This is known as the Body Blade. This is a cool device that I actually got turned on to by a chiropractor at one point. But the basic at bottom game here, where the thing we're talking about is hanging. Now you see that I'm hanging dead weight. There is no flexion in my shoulders. It's absolutely loose, dead weight. Shoulder joints are not flexing. You may have to build up to this. It's palms facing away from you, dead weight. You may have to support your body with your feet at first. Per the book, there is going to be some pain at first, especially depending on your injury and how far along you are in your rehab. But it shouldn't be excessively like jabbing. But you may have to build up to the dead hang. I'm hanging for about 30 seconds. I do about 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and I do that 2 or 3 times a day. I'll do it in the morning when I get up. I'll do it when I get home from work. I'll do it before or after jiu-jitsu class. I might do it after I get home. Here you see me hitting a different angle. The book doesn't talk about the different angles. It talks about, generically speaking, the book talks about just regular hanging. But I throw in the different angles just so I'm hitting the body or hitting the shoulders in different angles. And then I'm doing some basic circles, which helps open up the joints, the shoulders, loosen them up. This is something you can use as a warm-up, this whole procedure, a cool down, or completely independent. I usually do this or some variation of this routine after jiu-jitsu, before jiu-jitsu, before I go to work, when I get home from work. I try to do it a couple times a day. You can boil it down to 1 time a day just for routine, or 1 time every other day once your shoulder is 100%. But because I'm always kind of getting tweaked a little bit in jiu-jitsu and wearing 30 pounds of gear every damn day, I'm always having issues with my shoulder. But, generally speaking, just this alone, the hanging that I do really helps a lot. The mobility is never 100% on my right shoulder. If you roll jiu-jitsu with me, you know that's my tight shoulder. But here I am using those hook clamps or grips that are for bodybuilding. In this way, it takes the forearm completely out of the solution. So you can hang for much longer. I still recommend that you use your grip strength to work on your grip strength. It's really good to have grip strength. And for me, doing jiu-jitsu, it's important to have grip strength when I'm doing gi jiu-jitsu, or even no gi, where you're having to do collar ties and grabbing the wrist and so forth. But especially in the gi, it's super important. But you see that I'm able to hang for longer. by taking the grip strength out of the problem altogether. And guys, this feels great. Again, at first, it is painful, but now it doesn't bother me at all. And again, you read the book, it tells you that this takes care of most injuries. The doctor himself is a shoulder surgeon, or he does a lot of shoulder surgeries. He had his own injury, and that's how he came up with the concept. Here I am just kind of swinging around, loosening up the shoulders a little bit in between sessions, and I'm going to do it again. And again, my feet are off the ground, but you may have to work up to that. This is also a great way to build up to doing pull-ups. For example, if you have no strength, like I'm horrible at pull-ups, I will then go from a loose shoulder to an active shoulder where I'm using what I call scapula or rotator cuff pull-ups, where I'm just flexing my rotator cuffs and activating them. And that is the first part of any pull-up. But in this case, we're just doing it strictly for rehab or for therapy, and for maintenance on your shoulder. And again, guys, I do this. I personally do it at least once a day, sometimes 2-3 times a day, depending if it's a jiu-jitsu day or grappling day, or if I'm doing MMA with my friend Aiken. Whatever it is I'm doing, I like to do this before any kind of shoulder training. But here's the symmetry crossover bands. And this is, I don't do a lot of different shoulder exercises outside of regular weightlifting. This is just straight up PT, but you see I'm grabbing a boxing glove. I use a boxing glove just because it's handy, but you can use a rolled up towel. You tuck it under your shoulder. That way you know that you're clamping your shoulder down and it's not floating away from your rib cage. And this is just external rotation. I'm just doing about 10 of these, and I'm only going to show one side. I'm not going to bore you with both sides. It's the same damn movement on both sides. But it's external rotation. You need to have good posture. Again, if you're using a towel or whatever it is you put under your shoulder, you don't want that to slip and fall out. That's why I put it there, to emphasize that. And this is basically another rotation, external rotation from a different angle. I'm just using my other arm as a point of contact for a physical contact, something to focus on mentally, and it's just another external rotation. And again, this works different aspects of the rotator cuff. So in between hanging, this is what I do. I do the different rotator in here. I promised you I was going to do both sides, but I obviously didn't cut this one out. So same movement on the other side. I do all these movements on both sides, not just the side that I need the rehab on. I mean, because why wouldn't you? Now, these are like clubs. They're weighted clubs. I think mine are like 5 pounds. And this just is a way to build up the rotator cuff and flexibility in the shoulder. And I'm just doing these big circular motions to build up the space in the joint and to overall warm up the joint and just work the joint. And I'm not swinging hard, because they're 5 pounds. I'm just trying to control the weight, and it's just a great way to work the shoulder. Now, this isn't in the book. This is just something I picked up along the way, doing martial arts and training with other people. I think I was turned on by another control tactics instructor that uses them. This is the body blade, guys. This is actually was a chiropractor who turned me on to this. It really helps work those small little tertiary, secondary muscles, and it has that. It's hard to explain what it's doing to your arm and your shoulder, but it's all those little stabilizing muscles that you are using when you use this device. And again, you don't need this. This is just something I've added to my routine, because I've noticed that, it just helps with all those little secondary muscles and so forth. And then I usually just end the routine with a little bit more hanging, nothing crazy. Here I am just doing it from the wide hang just to help loosen up the shoulders, and I'm going to be pretty much done at that point. All right, guys, like, subscribe, and share.
Somebody check that back. How the hell did you do that, man?
Well, I dislocated my shoulder one time, and I can just do whatever I want to now.
Oh, goddamn, man, does that hurt?
Yeah, it does. But not as much as when I put it back in.
Let's roll. Hey, careful out.